Hey everybody, Kevin Shortle here. If you follow me on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, you know that I put out a tip of the day on a regular basis, probably 4 days per week. The last one that I did before I made this video, I was mentioning an email that I received that particular morning about an early payoff. So I thought I would take that deal and give you a quick rundown of what that deal actually looked like and how I was able to help my client student through this. I do personal mentoring. I helped him every single step of the way through Zoom, sharing screens, going through public documents, everything together on this. And we moved very quickly, and you'll see why on this particular deal. So this was a single family home in Florida. And a very typical story on the background on this, which was easily found on public records. The property had gone into foreclosure. So a real estate investor purchased the property from a foreclosure sale, and then they went ahead and sold this, and they sold it with seller financing. Now, they sold it as is. So they didn't do any renovations to it. They just bought it really inexpensively, marked it up a bit, and sold it for $45,000. The person they sold it to was a business owner who saw a good opportunity here to purchase this house and then have it rezoned and made into a commercial property that he could run his business out of. And again, we gathered that information by doing some deep research. Didn't take too long because I do this on a regular basis, and I just walked my client through every step of the way. So the business person who purchased this property renovated the property themselves. So they not only put a down payment in this, but they put work into this property to fix it up, get it ready for business, make it, put offices in there, storage and everything else. So the property, by the time we are looking at buying this note, had gone up in value to over $100,000. The down payment was substantial. On a $45,000 purchase price. He put $15,000 down. So that means a $30,000 note was created. So we went to public records and we were able to find the mortgages, the deeds, if the property taxes were paid, a lot of information about this before we even had to communicate with the note seller. So the investor who sold this property as is got $15,000 in cash, but is now holding a $30,000 note that is representing payments over time. So some of the things we couldn't see on public records because they are not recorded are things like this. This was the actual settlement statement from this deal. And if you've ever purchased real estate before, you know that there's a HUD-1 settlement statement that breaks down the seller and the borrower's transactions and who pays what. All of that is done on this form because it's a full settlement. This went through a title company and everything else like a normal sale. So it was easy to verify the sales price was $45,000, and we could see that the buyer had to bring $14,776 to the table, essentially $15,000. The closing created several new documents, one of which was a warranty deed, the top deed that you can get here. So the note seller sent us a full package online showing us the seller's affidavit, the survey release shows that the property taxes were all paid, that the property insurance was placed on the property, that there was an owner's title policy that went along with this warranty deed. So the business owner became the property owner, and the investor who initially purchased the property became the note owner. So as a note owner, you have a mortgage note that was also signed at the closing here back in November 2019. Once again, we verify the information. Mortgage notes are not recorded, by the way, only the security agreement, only the mortgage portion of this. So we have to verify the note. So we gathered that information. I went over it one-on-one with my client, $30,000 at 8%. $424 and change per month with a balloon. So what they're doing here is making payments over time, but at some point, which in this case happens to be November 1st, 2022, the entire remaining balance, which is $20,916, is due in one lump sum. So the business owner can refinance the property. They can get another, he can pay it off in cash. Those are his options to meet the obligations within this mortgage note. So this note is secured by a mortgage. we were able to see this mortgage because it was recorded, right? And that's all stamped on the document itself. So before we even got information, I got online with my client, sharing a screen on Zoom, going right to the website, showing them how to look up all these things. And it's perfect. Everything is here that we needed. We also noted that it was a non-homestead mortgage, which means that the borrower buyer is not going to be living in that property. And that's what put me on that path of, is this going to be a rental property? Oh, well, it looks like he's going to be using it in his business. Okay, all of which is very, very good. So we immediately, after we went through all this, did our due diligence, I ran the numbers, we have the background story on this. I told my client, you need to make an offer on this right now. And he did. So he put an offer on this subject to getting a BPO and a title report, because we did want to verify some additional information. So he submitted the offer. The note owner accepted that offer with those contingencies. So immediately we ordered, I told my client to order a BPO and a title report. The BPO, this is the cover page right here, $100,000 is what the property value came in at. Perfect. It's great. We're investing in this. I don't want to give away the number just yet, but we're investing a much smaller number. Remember, it was only a $30,000 loan that had been paid for a couple of years before the note seller wanted to sell it here. So $105,000, and it says a quick sale value of $100,000. So we're using that as a lower value. It's now being used as a business office place, a higher and better use, by the way, which adds additional value to that property. The title report didn't show us any surprises. Everything on the title report is what we saw in our own research. And again, I say we because I'm on this side of my computer. He's at his house on his computer, seeing everything that I'm looking at, going over it together. So he's really learning the business, because I personally mentor people. That's what I do in this industry. So I'm taking them through step by step, hand holding through this entire transaction. And we had a really good, strong feeling, as I told him, you're not going to find any surprises, but this is only your third deal. Let's go ahead and get a title report on this for you so that you are assured of what we have found. So no surprises, perfect, very inexpensive to get these reports. We make one phone call and we get both of these things done well within 3 days in most all areas here. So all of that was great. So what was my client buying then? My client is buying the loan on that property, the loan obligation. The loan is on the note and it's secured by the mortgage. And the mortgage essentially says, if you don't pay, then we can foreclose upon the property. So the note had 36 payments and then a balloon that was due. The payments are $424 per month. When we were looking at it, there was only 14 payments remaining. So this is a very short-term loan, because on the 14th month, they're also going to pay off they're also going to pay off the balloon of $20,915. So nice, quick little note, making you a high yield, especially when you're buying this for $20,000. So that's what my client offered for this, and it was accepted. That's the price that I recommended him for that. And we had room in there if there was a counter offer. Could have come up and still been a good deal. But when you have short terms like this on these payoffs and the relative uncertainty of a balloon, are they going to be able to come up with the money or not? You have to, be very precise on your bid. So I got him through that. He got the offer, accepted at that price, and all these signs, everything I looked at, the down payment, the work on the property, the increase in the equity on the property, the fact that it's being run now in the business as an office, it was a great candidate. I told him when we were looking at this, my client, I said, this is a great candidate for an early payoff. I wouldn't be surprised if they pay this thing off in full before the balloon deadline date. And if they wait till the balloon deadline date, I have no doubt that they're going to be able to come up with the money on this, because we had done our research together, including what this person's business was and what they do and how the business was doing. So felt extremely confident about that. And sure enough, that's what happened. He purchased this in August of 2021, and it just paid off at the end of August 2022. So they paid 12 months of payments and then paid the whole thing off. So early payoff, a little bit, early, but nonetheless an early payoff on this. And here was the email, and I redacted some information for privacy, but this is the email that I received from my client, that I helped through this deal, paid the balloon off. A check was deposited in this Roth IRA, by the way. So this was done through a Roth IRA. What's the process moving forward? Very simple. You do a satisfaction of mortgage and schedule a one-on-one. He's asking, should he do that? That's what I do. You schedule, as a client of mine, you schedule a one-on-one appointment. I work with you on the schedule. It goes on my calendar, your calendar. We get on Zoom and we find these deals. We go through these deals. We buy these deals. And if a deal runs in trouble, we troubleshoot deals as well. So helped him with all of that. So here's the summary. He invested $20,000 August 2021, received 12 payments. That's $5,089.20. Self-service the loan in this particular case. Most of the time we third-party service, but this was such a short-term note and it was already being self-serviced. I recommended self-serving in this particular case, and that's a whole different subject. He received then the payoff of $21,480. Now that's more than what the payoff initially showed, but they paid it off early. So $21,480 on top of that. So you can see on this, he netted over $6,000. Okay, now that is not going to change anybody's lifestyle. I get that, but think of the return. Heck, just the simple math in your mind, you're going, if I invested $20,000 and over the course of a year, I get $6,000 back, I've made 30% on my money. Now, if I did a time value calculation, which I've done, it actually comes a little bit higher than that. But imagine that. Where else can you invest a relatively small sum, $20,000, secured by something worth 5 times that in this case, $100,000, and the thing pays off in 1 year and you've made 30% plus on your money. If you run it through a financial calculator and you want the precise number, 31.83% on that one deal, tax-free, because it was through his Roth IRA. The follow-up email, when I emailed him back on that and said, hey, congratulations, you did pretty good on this one, didn't you? And he chuckled and he said, yes, sir, but I couldn't have done it without your help. And that was the follow-up email that I got. So I can help you with these things too. I thought you'd enjoy that case study, but this is the kind of thing that I do with people every single day. And I teach them, I mentor them. So he's truly learning these skills. He's not going to be fully dependent on me forever. You start to learn the process as you go through with me, but I'm always there when you run into something else. So hope you enjoyed that little video. And if you're interested, please shoot me an email, kevin@kevinshortell.com, or go to my website and we can schedule a phone call. In fact, I'll put a link to schedule a 30-minute phone call with me if you're interested in this industry and how I can help you achieve your goals within it.